Savage,
Present.
Reister,
Present.
Doyle,
Present.
DeVore is absent, Larkin,
Present.
Lonick,
Here.
Clore is absent, Springer absent, and Chairman Reagan.
Okay.
Make a motion to excuse the absences.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to excuse the absences. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That got approved. Approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Who seconded that? I missed it.
I did.
Okay, thank you, Dean.
Okay, minutes of previous meeting. Yes, we got them.
Time for you to make a motion.
Make a motion for approval as submitted.
Okay, motion by Dean.
Second.
I don't know if Rita said it first or Mike.
Doesn't matter, as long as we keep going.
Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. They have been approved. Treasurer's report, Sue.
Okay, currently we have $496,000 in our fund balance. The winter tax bills have gone out. We expect an additional $65,000 in TIFA revenue, in addition to the $331,000 that we've received so far this year.
Okay. Anything on expenses? All right.
Motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the treasurer's report. Dean was a second. What's that?
I got it.
Okay. Comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That's been approved. Public comments for items not on the agenda. We only have one public.
I got mine.
Easier for mail.
Yeah, he brought his own.
Okay. There's none. Old business, downtown development plan,
I don't have anything.
nothing on that. South Monroe parking lot.
The only thing I have is that the trees were installed and they look like great trees, so I think that'll finish up our construction for this year. Next year, we're going to have the south side of the parking lot graded by a professional landscaper because the contractor is really not good at landscaping, let's just say. So we'll ask that we get that properly raked and seeded again next year. He came back several times and did try to keep it restored, but the dry summer, just the weeds took over. So if there's no objection to that, I'll get that lined up next year.
Okay, depend on you.
I'll bring you a number.
Okay. All right, new business, sidewalks.
Okay, so just to recap from last time, we discussed 815 West Main where we had some ADA issues. And let me remind you, the ADA standard is 8% forward slope max and 2% cross slope max. So the DDA board asked me to go out and re-inspect the DDA sidewalks again, and it came back with a list of quite a few square feet that did not meet that standard. So when we look at it and tally it all up, there were 12,800 square feet of sidewalk that we would need to have replaced if we wanted to set the ADA as one of our standards. In terms of the cost, at $7.75 a square foot, we're looking at $99,000. Yeah.
I'd just like to make a comment on the sidewalk. The DDA, as I recall, we got into the sidewalk program and the school system decided not to bus people within 1.5 miles of the schools. And we said we'd repair the sidewalks in the district so the kids could walk. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. That's how we got into the sidewalk repair business. And, you know, the city has an ordinance that takes care of that and puts it on property ordinance. So I don't know if we should be in the sidewalk business anymore. I mean, we did it so the kids would have smooth sidewalk and walk to school on.
Well, we did it on Main Street too, because it was.
Yeah, but it was me.
So, yeah, it's
And we did
within
some-
our district.
And
Yeah.
some in front of the White House and stuff we did. But to just blanket go out throughout the district and make sidewalks, I don't know if that's something we should be doing. I mean, if they come back to haunt me, they come down and say my sidewalk's bad, you know. Just a thought.
My only suggestion would be that you probably want to keep doing it in the downtown district because that basically is your main entity, but outside the district, you could take, you know, outside the core downtown area, you probably could take that argument. The only other argument is going to be those people.
You did it before and.
Well, that's part of it, but the other argument's going to be is that they're part of the district too. But I think you have to continue doing it in the downtown district. If you want a walkable, sustainable downtown, you have to do that. But really, once you get outside the downtown, that's really the direction of the board.
And you're talking about outside the downtown, you know?
Yeah, a lot of this is East Main, some on West Main, some on North Broadway, and even some on Hudson. So it does spread out a little bit.
It's not downtown, that's what you're talking about.
Right, it's in the DDA.
It's in the DDA, but not downtown.
Right.
I think too, Mike, something back there that we considered was the fact that we had funds building, but no projects. And part of the consideration was that, you know, our intention was never to be a bank. It was to, you know, the TIFA provided the revenues, and it was our intention to improve the city. So, I mean, your point's valid, but we got money.
My thought on sidewalks is public infrastructure, it's not private. It's made so someone can walk across your property. It's just like a road is. Technically, we go into the middle of the road, but we don't maintain it as a property owner. And the sidewalk is public infrastructure. And your slopes and so on are nothing compared to pickups parked on sidewalks and garbage cans put in sidewalks, and that's just rampant. I don't know if the ADA Act has anything on that on their sidewalks. Should go-
On obstructions.
Obstructions, and they're easily taken care of.
Is there any kind of a liability issue if, I mean, apparently we haven't been maintaining our sidewalks to the DDA, or the ADA standards. Is that something that could bite us in the future?
I think as long as you don't have that standard adopted, then it should not
Oh,
hurt you too much, but
And
any
not,
new construction should be compliant with ADA.
I don't think any of the ones that you're talking about are the ones we put in. Those predate us.
Yes. Yeah. What's the date of that standard?
Oh, boy. I couldn't tell you. It's just something I've practiced in my entire career.
Would you say less than 20 years?
Oh, yeah, probably. I think
Okay, so it wasn't even around when we did that. It's a relatively new standard.
I guess, yeah, in terms of,
Yep.
yeah, I'd say it's fairly good.
The only other you might want to consider too is if we were ever to do any aesthetic enhancements to the area, especially on M21, if we were able to get if we were getting road improvement, at some point we were to do enhancements where we would do road and sidewalk, MDOT would require you to go to the ADA standard.
When you accept for the one.
When you accept their
There's
fault,
a
yeah.
caveat.
Yeah,
But then there's money for it,
Right.
right.
so.
do we not have, I mean, 99,000 bucks sounds like a lot of money, but is it, I don't know, I'm obviously a newer member on the board, but I think we're kind of in that trap where we started doing it. Now, how do we say, oh no, we don't want to do that anymore? Your sidewalk doesn't get fixed, but we fixed the guy across the street.
We fixed it, a few because of the differences in cracks, but we didn't do them, fix them because of ADA.
Okay.
And a lot of it was all new construction that we put in.
Now, is there anything coming out that they are gonna do stuff to 21?
No, I'm just saying that down the road, that might be an option.
Okay.
And the other thing you might want to consider, obviously, the argument of the residential over the commercial, I mean, it's very fair. I mean, I've heard that argument before, but the Downtown Development Act statute specifically states one of the roles of the DDA is to eliminate blight. And I would argue that this would probably fall under that.
Yeah, really, I'm just gonna throw my opinion in here too, if you don't mind, but the DDA pays a surcharge. I think they expect a higher level of service in some cases. And I'll add this to the conversation.
Yeah,
I would say surcharge.
Okay, I'm not gonna, surcharge is the wrong term, but you do pay an additional tax.
No, they do not.
They don't pay an additional
No,
tax?
the difference between,
It's just not paid to the county.
basically what it does is it guarantees that the taxes you would pay to the county, instead of them going there, they come here. That's the only difference.
All of our revenue is strictly from Tifa.
Right.
We had, in the DDA Act, there's a right to do like 2%.
2%.
Something like that, and we chose not to
Right.
add any more.
Correct. Okay,
Yeah, we don't do that.
I appreciate the correction.
No problem.
Learn something every day.
And to go back to Cliff's question, the liability falls on the property owner for it.
Okay.
Just to add more to this conversation then too, maybe you would consider, as some of the other standards are met for replacement, then we also incorporate the ADA standard as well. So maybe if we find that they have a crack, then we replace them at the same time and do an additional repair to make sure that they comply with ADA. So maybe we just say that we meet several standards before we replace these, if you don't want to tackle this large of a project now.
We're talking next construction season anyway? It's too late now, right? I think it's next spring. I'm sorry.
I think that's a great suggestion. When it comes time to replace or repair, we bring it to standards.
But I think your point was to adopt the standard?
Yeah, I'd like to include that as a standard because obviously we have some issues. You know, there's $99,000 worth of issues here, 12,000 square feet. So it'd be nice to adopt the standard, but only 2 folks agree to adopt it. Otherwise, we're going to stick with the same standard, which is 1 inch, over, I think it's over 25% cracked, 1 inch offset, 1/4 inch gaps.
If we were to adopt the standard as of whatever date the standard is you're working to, for discussion, if the standard then changes, then, how would we, and right now it's $100 grand, okay? But because of a standard change, now 100 became 150. And I don't know what would cause that, but the standards are developed by people, by not us, by somebody else, and we have no say over that. So how would we feel about then, do we update the standard? Do we maintain our adoption to that date? What if it is a state project? Do they require current?
Yeah, one of my concerns here is I'm not so sure the DDA should be setting the standard. It should be a city standard that the city's council should set. Now, in relation to his question, obviously, what normally happens is you would probably, like, for example, if it was a federal project, you'd have to comply to the federal standard. And I don't know how often, I'll be honest, I don't know how often that changes either. I just know from projects that I had done in the past, we did a major streetscape where I wasn't, we had to comply, you know, it had to fall within the federal standard. I just don't know how much of that differentiates over time. I have a feeling it's probably pretty set now. I don't see, I mean, it's pretty restrictive to begin with, so I don't know if it would get any more restrictive.
Whenever you repair a piece, you bring it up to the standard
Correct.
at the time of the repair.
Correct.
So if the piece just before it was a different standard, who cares? We're not gonna go back and redo that.
Right.
We're gonna,
You're gonna get in as compliance as to what it is at that time.
yeah.
Approaching it like a flow chart, the first issue that was brought up is, do we want to be fixing sidewalks? Did we answer that question? Did we decide yes we do or no we don't? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that was Mike's first point was, hey, are we in the sidewalk repair business? Did we answer that question? If we decided we are, then the next question is, are we going to do it in the entire DDA neighborhood or just Main Street? Or DDA boundaries? Am I looking at it wrong or?
Makes sense.
Okay. In my mind, the first question that we need to answer is, do we want to repair sidewalks in the DDA district? Yes, no. If yes, do we repair the whole district or are we just going to focus on Main Street? Main Street or the whole district? I mean,
If we decide to do it, it's my opinion that all the constituents get the same.
good, that's what I'm thinking too, because if everybody's in that area and we go, oh yeah, we're gonna do it for Cliff, but not Rita, that's not good.
All their taxes come here, so.
Right. That's,
And I don't disagree with Brian at all that, you know, this is an imposed burden on the property owner, and anything we can do to offset that burden, I'm in favor of doing.
So do we need a motion? Or what are we gonna do?
I'm just looking for guidance.
We're not gonna do anything till the spring anyway.
Yeah,
right. I think we're just shooting stuff around at this
Yeah.
point.
That's fine. But it's interesting that there is that many sidewalks that are non-conforming.
Right, and keep in mind that non-conforming could be a fraction of non-conformance or it could be drastically out of non-conformance. And really, I look at this list, and I'll give you this list too, we're looking at things as 0.2% of conformance up to 4% of the conformance. So it's,
Well, for instance, the one that initiated this conversation, how bad is that one?
that was like 8 to 10%, where the standard is 2 across slope.
That's a driveway that's coming down.
Oh, and the
And-
sidewalk.
It's a
and the
section of sidewalk.
Yeah, but the same one, there's garbage can constantly.
Mm.
It's like you got room in grass anyway, so why do you want to place a sidewalk? But that's another issue.
Well, that's-
To be addressed and
Yeah.
enforced. Same with a shovel on the sidewalk. I for one am in favor of us doing the sidewalks.
Well, I think it's a good infrastructure thing, and then if it makes everything more walkable, bikeable, wheelchair accessible,
It looks nice.
it-
But I'll do it, as he suggested, when it's needed, when there's cracks, breaks or something like that, and then bring it up to speed.
And I think too, one of the reasons we did not institute it as a policy, thou shalt, is because we always said, if we have the money. And right now, we certainly have the money, so we take a look at them on case-by-case basis as they come up, and if money's there to spend it, then we spend it for that.
Yeah, well, that's where I was going with I asked you about the one that we were all familiar with that's so tilty. You know, maybe we start off with the really bad ones and don't worry about the 1% out of compliance. And I like the idea of, obviously, anytime we make a repair, we bring it up to DD or ADA snuff, and then we're covering our bases.
Out of all those, did you figure that was the worst?
That was by far the worst.
That was, okay.
Yeah, there's another one at the old Lowell building that tips pretty good, and then there's actually a section behind our building at the police department that's tipped pretty good, but the rest of it's
Front of Venom?
not bad.
What about in front of Venom?
What's that?
The
Craigslist.
What's it
It's
called?
not Bennett anymore now, it's
Grand.
Grand.
He's out of town, right? If I had the address, I could tell you. I don't know what the address is. It's got to be between 600 and 800, and it's not on our list.
Huh. I'd say put it on your to-do list to bring it back early in the spring.
Bring us the worst ones first.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, any other comments on sidewalks? Reports and member comments. Do you have a report?
I have a quick one. There is legislation currently right now moving through, it's actually already moved through the House, and it's moving through the Senate. There's 6 bills pertaining to downtown development authority, or TIF statutes, but mainly downtown development authorities. What they're really intending to try and do is these special millages that come up, like for example, for the zoo and for the in Detroit, they call it the Detroit Zoo millage. They're trying to get these new special millages to be opted out of the DEA tax capture. And there's 6 bills, I believe, that are pertaining to that. It's in the Senate right now. I'm not sure it's gonna make it out of the Senate in time by the end of lame duck. Once I learn more, I can let you know. But the biggest issue with that, it doesn't really affect us as much, but it does affect a couple issues. One, it's a local control issue, and I always have issues when the state does local control issues. But the other issue is there's many DDAs statewide that are they have bond debt that they're required to pay, and they're utilizing their debt capacity to do that. And the concern is that as these millages get passed and more opportunities for opt-outs and so forth, the concern is that it's going to take away the ability for the municipality to pay off, or the DDAs to pay off their bond debt. And I'm not so sure if they've taken that into account when they're putting these bills in place. But it's something that I know where I came from. That's a major issue. And a matter of fact, I actually plan on giving Senator Hildebrand a call today or tomorrow about it, and talking to him about that. So something that's going on in the legislature right now that I let you know, and that's all I have.
Okay.
I have a question. Did you get your skid steer and wheel loader bought?
We got approved for it, yeah, and it's on order.
But it's not bought yet. Have you executed the contract?
We have the loader. We do not have the skid steer yet.
Okay. What do you reckon the whole finance charge over the life of it would be? Order of magnitude.
Well, it's $225,000 for the whole thing. Probably 3% interest to it.
If I can do it quicker than
Yeah. So you're probably looking, the life of the loan, maybe 240, 250.
So 15, 20 grand?
that. Probably a little higher, probably in the 30,000 range.
Okay. The other reason I asked the question, I don't know why I didn't think of it before, was, hell, maybe we should have just bought it and save all the financing and back charge the city over time for the, you know, basically make a no-interest loan. Since we got the cash, it's just sitting there.
Well, yeah, it's too late. I wouldn't want to, honestly, in this instance, I still want to have money freed up for other projects as they come along, so I mean, and it's still, I'm not sure Dick would be in favor of 100% doing it that way.
He works for us.
Yeah, but he also follows state law, and I'm not so sure how that falls under state law.
Yeah, if it's not legal, it's not legal.
That's what I'm, yeah, and my concern is, one of the things that there's an issue going around statewide is that DDAs are buying things, or they're buying things for cities, when maybe they should only be doing a portion of it. That's what I was trying to kind of avoid. I've heard, I mean, there's situations where DDAs have built fire stations for city, well, Fenton did that, but, there's a lot of times where there's an argument that the DDA does things over and above what they really should. I have a feeling that might fall into that category. But, and I also wouldn't recommend, I honestly, from a municipal finance standpoint, I probably would have still recommended the installment purchase just on how we did it.
What's our annual revenues?
The DDA? About 400,000.
Don't we keep a certain amount?
You want to definitely keep a portion of that in fund balance. No, I guess it's I guess it's the, you know, maybe it's understanding what this DDA wants to do. I came from obviously I came from a DDA that was very development driven, and I personally my recommendations always would be for using it for development projects rather than doing it for equipment. But that's just me. I don't know.
I don't disagree with that at all. It's just that 10 years, it's been 10 years since we've had any, or more, since we've had any project of any significance. And again, we were never intended to be a bank.
Understood. No, I understand. Oh, trust me, I'll find uses for your money.
I'm sure.
I was gonna say the same thing. We can find ways to
I will
spend
find
It's
things.
a parking lot.
I will find things. Don't worry.
Anyone else? We have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, Rita beat you to it. To adjourn, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.